and welcome back to my Top Trumps TBR. You may have noticed I didn't do a Top Trumps TBR last month. That was because I was slap bang in the middle of 3 of the 5 Top Trumps card books and I didn't want to have to just carry them over and make a big deal about it, so I just finished them. And then the 2 that I didn't complete was Malice and Duck and Dyer, so they have gone back into my Top Trumps cards. I don't think this will be the first time you've seen my Top Trumps TBR, so I'm not going to go into the rules too much, but just know that this month is going to be a long arse TBR because I have books that I want to read specifically for All the World's Page. So I'm trying to restrict myself to 1 readathon a month. That is getting harder and harder because they're just so good, but also now that I have 5 book clubs slash read-alongs that I'm taking part in, I need to wind my neck in and I need to be sensible, and whilst I'm still trying to read an inordinate amount of books each month, I don't want to put pressure on myself for these. So there have been a couple of months where I've done my Top Trumps TBR and then I've carried them over for a couple of months, or I have only picked like 10 books that I have to read and then I've like mood read the rest of the way through the month. I do enjoy making a TBR though. So going into this, I will have my 5 books from my TBR cards, I will have my 5 books from my read-alongs and book clubs, and then the rest are books that I would like to read specifically for this readathon. However, if I don't, it's not the end of the world because I'll probably mood read in the order that I want to anyway. Before I get onto my cards then, what I will do is I will go through all of my book clubs and read-alongs. We will start with the read-alongs. Now obviously Skullduggery Pleasant, we will be on to book 7. It blows me away that I can be this committed to something because I am not good at that, so I'm quite excited to get into book 7. This will be the 3rd trilogy. I think there's like 2 seasons. I think there's like the first 6 and the second 6, so this is going into the 2nd season I think, but don't quote me on that because I don't know. Abby from Abby and Pellinor and Becca from Becca's Book Sanctum know way more about Skullduggery than I do, which is why I love having them along on my read along, so ask them. They will have more knowledge on this than I do. But yeah, book 7, I don't know anything about it. I'm going in completely blind. We will be looking at it briefly when we do the live stream for the last book. So at the moment I know absolutely nothing about it and I'd like to keep it that way because I haven't finished the last book, which is fine, it's not the end of the world, we've got plenty of time for the live stream. And it's still YA middle grade-y, so it's a really easy read. I'm not too stressed about this one, but I'm really enjoying them, and I think this is the last of the super chunky ones until we get to 14. That will also help I think. So yeah, really excited for that one. The other read along I'm doing, I obviously didn't get a chance to mention in my last video because I never uploaded that, but essentially Ali from Chaotic Ali or Chaotic Reader, I can never remember which one it is, but I love her very much. She is hosting a Ixia Chronicles read-along and she's asked me to co-host, which I love, especially because Emma from Emma Novella and Robbie from A Nose Stuck in a Book had suggested this to me a while ago and I wasn't prepared to host another read-along. Like I was happy to do another read-along, but I wasn't prepared to host another read-along with so much stuff going on. But Ali has kind of held me to it and like is making me do it, so I think Emma might be joining us on that as well. But this is a YA fantasy series. It has enemies to lovers tropes, it has training montage tropes. I remember absolutely fucking loving this series and I'm really hoping it holds up. Again, I've only just started the last one because I'm really behind on my last month's reads, but I'm quite intrigued. I mean, I think it's going to hold up. If you like Throne of Glass and A Court of Thorns and Roses, I feel like this is another series that you will really enjoy. It's high fantasy YA. It definitely leans more into the fantasy element than it does a romance element, though there are romance elements in this. There are trigger warnings for like abuse, child neglect, etc., but it's still great, I think. I'm hoping. For the Hullabaloo book club, Emma won the last challenge, so Emma got to pick and Emma chose Victory is Greater Than Death, which I believe is also on my Book Wanderers TBR, so that's great. I can tick that one off for that 3 months TBR. This is about an AI or a clone that has been made in the visage of someone who is known to be a hero, except this person slash AI slash clone is not a hero and they are trying to find their own way in the world. So it sounds really interesting. I'm hoping, as it's a sci-fi, that it won't be totally internalized conflict like I would like some drama. I am struggling with sci-fi at the moment. I've never enjoyed sci-fi as much as I enjoy fantasy, but I have high hopes for this. Emma does really like sci-fi, so I'm reading it for Emma and the Hullabaloo Book Club. I kind of regretted putting it on my Book Wanderers TBR almost the second. I think I took it off actually. I think I nearly had this for stars and then I put in the quick instead. So it's not on that TBR. Ignore everything I've just said, except for what the book is about. Kind of. For the Lamentable Library, we are going back to the classics. We will be reading, well, I say classic, modern classic, Woman in Black. I've had this very, very pretty cover for a while, and this is a classic ghost story by Susan Hill. My copy does have other ghost stories in it as well, so I will probably read all of them, but that is Kelly's pick for the Lamentable Library for August. So I'm really excited for this one, and I also enjoy how shiny it is. And then the last one is my Bevies and Books book club, which is hosted by Danny from Bookish Danny, and I will be reading The Monsters of Rookhaven. I've had this for a while. I think I got this around Christmas time as a little treat to myself, and I was really, really excited by it, and I really liked how shiny the cover was. I originally saw this over on Gavin's channel. It's a middle grade, and it just looked really spooky and really fun, but I have just been approved for the arc for the second one in the series, so I need to read the first one first. And as the prompt is found family, I thought I would go with this one because they do talk about finding family. They talk about finding an unusual family and finding an orphan and finding an orphaned brother and sister, so I feel like that would work. Okay, let's jump over to my Top Trumps TBR cards. Every month I give them a quick little shuffle. There's a whole variety of genres in here. Age ranges, books that I'm really excited by, books that I've bought myself recently that I need to get to, TBR vets, a whole bunch. The first prompt is the year, so I want to read the book most recent because I want to read newer reads rather than older reads, because otherwise I just get caught up in reading the same books over and over again. So the first one is Hollow Pike, which is 2012, and then the second one is Kings of the Wild, which is 2017. So why are we reading Kings of the Wild? Just what I wanted on an already massive TBR. Love that for me. Okay, Kings of the Wild it is. Next is author, so I just go through until there's an author that I have not read before. So the first one is Queen of the Conquered, which is Case and Calendar. I have started Queen of the Conquered before, so I guess technically I have read some Case and Calendar, so I'm just going to pull the second one. If it's an author that I've already read, I will read Case and Calendar, and if it isn't, then I will read the second one. The second one is Descendant of the Crane by Joan Hay, and I have not read that, so I will go with Descendant of the Crane. I really should finish Queen of the Conquered. I think I got about 30 pages in and then ran out of month, and then realised that I hadn't updated Goodreads, so I was like, well, there's no point adding it now if I don't have time to read it, so nearly, but we'll go with Descendant of the Crane. Okay, next is page number. I like to challenge myself and read the book with the most pages out of the two, which is not ideal in this month, but we'll stick with it. So the first one is The Stars of the Blackness Between Them, which is 312 pages, and then the second one is Rhapsodic, which is 326 pages, so I'll be reading Rhapsodic. Thrilled that it's under 400 pages, because that means it will be quite a quick read. Yay! Next is Goodreads rating. I go for the book with the highest Goodreads rating. The first one is Black Sunday, which has 3.89, and then the second one is The Fandom, which has 3.56, so we will be reading Black Sunday. I don't know much about this. I think this is one of the ones that I got for Bow Ties and Books read-along back, or Readathon, back in January for their Blackathon, and then just never quite got round to, so I'm glad that I've come back to this one. And then the last one is art ratings, completely subjective. Don't be mad if I've rated your favourite book cover really low. It's just personal taste. So the first one is On Beauty, which is 4, and then the second one is The Secret of Nightingale Wood, which is 8, which is great because I have tried, clearly you can tell from the mess on the back of this, that I have tried to read this before and stuck it in my reading journal and then unstuck it from my reading journal because I never actually got to it. And another middle grade, we love that. Okay, so I have grabbed those books. The only one that I don't own is Descendant of the Crane, so I don't need to worry about taking on a wild card or taking on an additional book that I own. I know absolutely nothing about Kings of the Wild other than it is high fantasy, band of misfits type thing. I think they're all men in their like 50s who have been warriors but are coming back, but that's literally all I know about that. I'm not going to use this for any of the All the World's a Page prompts. It's just going to be a big book that I'm going to put on my TBR and then add more to. We'll just cut that out. So yeah, excited for this one, intrigued by this one, and if you've read it, let me know what you think. As for Rhapsodic, again, I don't know very much about this. I've heard people talk about it being a fantasy romance with fae elements in it. I know that there is something to do with a creature that puts black beads on a bracelet whenever you bargain with them, and I know that it's part of a series, but I've heard really good things, so I am intrigued. Regarding All the World's a Page, I'm going to be using this one for the romance prompt, or romance element prompt. I wasn't originally. It was going to be Much Ado About You, which kind of fits it better because it has a Shakespeare title, but I don't think I'm going to have time for both, so I will hesitantly put this in the I might mood read this pile, but I will probably just read this one because will she have the time? That's the question. As far as Black Sunday goes, this is set in Lagos in 1996. I think it has cult elements in it about twins that are inseparable, but then their family is consumed by religion. Because it's set in Lagos, I'm also going to include this for the All the World's Page foreign setting prompt. I mean, I could have gone for the BIPOC prompt as well, but we're going to do those two separately. But yes, set in Lagos, not the UK, we'll go with it. For my art prompt, obviously What Secret of Nightingale Wood. This is set in 1919. I've heard really good things about Lucy Strange. I bought this over a year ago, so it is also a bit of a TBR vet, but I'm not doing it for that prompt. I'm going to do for the second chance prompt because, as I showed you with the card earlier, I have tried to read this before and just either not got around to it or not finished it. So, which means that there are still a few prompts left, and I'm just going to go through my All the World's a Page TBR with you now. I don't know why I felt the need to introduce it again, slap bang in the middle of this video, but here we are. I will put all the links to Olivia's video below, which has the announcement and all the full prompts and what those prompts relate to with regards to Shakespeare. It's a great video. I love Olivia and I'm so excited for this readathon. I have been waiting for it, to be honest. I thought we were going to have it in April, but I'm not patient. I can only apologise. So the first one is the TBR vet. I'm going to add a woman in black for that one, again just so that I can double up a little bit. For the magic prompt, I mean, it's in the title, it's literally called Magic Study, so we're adding that one. For series, I'm going to be putting Kingdom of the Wicked, again, just nice and easy. So for duology, I'm going to finish the Crooked Kingdom duology. I really, really enjoyed Six of Crows. I just never quite got around to this one, so hopefully this will be another series slash duology that I can finish. I'm not going to go into it too much because it's the second one, so if you haven't read them yet, spoilers, etc., and people get really funny about it, so I will just try not to spoil it by saying nothing at all. For queer book, I've picked As I Descended, which is a Macbeth retelling set in a high school where this lesbian couple are basically destroying people that get in their way of shit. And I think it has paranormal elements to it as well. But I'm really intrigued. And again, I've had this on my shelf a while, so hopefully I can finally get to this one. But yeah, really looking forward to that one. For the ensemble, how could I choose anything other than If We Were Villains, which is literally about an ensemble cast. Essentially, I think the main character comes out of prison and then reintroduces himself to his fellow artists or actors, and I don't think it has multiple perspectives, but considering there is quite a large cast, I'm counting it for an ensemble because it's a literal ensemble and it's a Shakespeare reference, so we love that. For Take a Chance, I'm going to go with The Wicked Cometh. I bought this a while ago purely because it was gothic and spooky looking, and then I read the synopsis and was like, oh, that is so not what I was expecting, and I'm not really sure if I want to read this now. So we're just going to dive in at the deep end, we're going to put it on the TBR, we're going to commit, maybe, and we'll see how we get on. But that's why I'm taking a chance on this one, and then I might unhaul it if I don't. So I've got to be ruthless. I've got too many books that I really, really want to read that I just don't have time for. So let's start by getting shot of the ones that I'm not that fussed about. For BIPOC, I thought I would mix it up a little bit because we've got quite a few fantasies, middle grades and thrillery type ones on there. I thought I'd go the complete opposite and go for Take a Hint, Danny Brown. This has been in my TBR too many times and I need to finish this series because I loved the first book and what am I waiting for? So it's back again. It's back again. For disabled, I don't actually own any books where I know that the characters are disabled. I'm sure I own books that have disabled characters in them. I literally just finished the T-Dragon Society and loved that, and then I saw this prompt and was like, shit. So I've gone for neurodivergent instead. As a I think there's neurodivergent characters, and I know that Elming Nicol is a neurodivergent author. So I'll be reading Show Us Who You Are, which came out a while ago, but I still just haven't quite got to. I loved A Kind of Spark, so I'm really, really excited for this one, and I think this has more supernatural elements to it as well. Absolutely gutted that I've bent it already. We'll ignore that. But yeah, if you could recommend me some more books with great disability rep, because the last few that I've read were just not, I just didn't like them. So I don't know what to read for this prompt outside of this. So I need your help, please. Next is Pretty Writing. Now I don't know if this has pretty writing because I have never read anything by Hannah Capin, but I know that this is a literary thriller, so I'm imagining the writing style is going to be quite fast-paced and like fun. But I'm going to read Foul is Fair, which has trigger warnings for sexual assault, but is another Macbeth retelling where a young girl is sexually assaulted and then she goes around and brutalizes people. I mean, it literally says on the front, murder is all the rage. So anyway, yeah, really intrigued by this one. And again, I've had it on my TBR for a while. Just needed a good excuse to read it. So another prompt was like an additional genre, or a genre you wouldn't pick up normally. So I'm going non-fiction, although technically I have read quite a bit of non-fiction recently. It's not my go-to. This is another E. Foley and B. Coates, which is the same author who did What Would Boudica Do. I absolutely adored this, but Shakespeare for grown-ups, everything you need to know about the Bard. It's a non-fiction about Shakespeare. Their writing style is really fun. It's not condescending at all, but it just looks like a really fun non-fiction, and again, Shakespeare related, so we love that. I bought that for this prompt because I was just so excited by the idea of it. And then the last one is a big book, and I thought I would go for Hamnet. One, because it is big in that it's a hardback, but also big in that it has hit so many like bestsellers lists. So this came out last year. It won the Women's Prize for Fiction. It is so pretty. So pretty, and everyone keeps telling me I'm going to absolutely love it, and I don't know why I haven't picked it up yet. Here's the time to jump straight in. Hamnet. That's happening for the All What's page readathon. And then I have two buddy reads that I'm doing. The first is with Ali. As I mentioned earlier, we're doing the Ixia Chronicles series, but we're also going to be buddy reading Bunny at some point, which is a thriller. I can't find my copy anywhere, but I will find it. And another book that I can't find my copy of is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which I am buddy reading with Olivia's Catastrophe, who is obviously the host of All the World's page. So go check out those two amazing people, go and support them, show them love. I mean, you're probably already subscribed to them. If you're here with me, you're already subscribed to them. I can almost guarantee it. Show them some love anyway. But yeah, let me know in the comments if any of these books are familiar to you, what you thought of them. Let me know if there's any on here that you're a bit like, because that would help me whittle it down when it comes to actually reading them, because the problem is the moment they're on my TBR I want to start them and then I lose momentum about 2 weeks into the month. So wish me luck on that. But yeah, considering there's only 10 that I have to read and then the rest are all I'm just gonna mood read my way through. I'm excited. Most of these books are probably also available via Waypoint, so go and check out those links if you want to read along with me. Just let me know. And other than that, have a nice day.